Okay, we are ready for game 2 between HMS GT UPS and anti-UPS plus UPS. So game 1 saw the GT fleet victorious 17-9. So if they win this game, series will be over 2-0 score. But we'll play a third game if the Dragon Fleet wins. So red for GT, black for Dragon Fleet. See who goes first. Okay, so unlike last game, I think that's good. I like when the turn order changes, so it can kind of change the meta, the island and train placement and things like that. So unlike the first game, the GT fleet will go first. They'll place the first island. They want them about 4L away from each other. I think they'll go place the big one right there in the west. And then the other fleet, they want to place them a little less than 4L. They basically just want Banshee's Cry to be able to get from one wild island to another in one action. So she's on one side though. She's gonna have to use an L just to get angled right. I think they're gonna go minimum 3. I think they'll try that. They could. The other option is going max distance, because Grand Temple would have a little bit of a harder time getting to the Banshee's Cry to hit her. But then they're counting on the first island having enough treasure to win the game, which is a really hefty bet to make. I think they're going to keep them a little closer. So I'll go a little more than 3L, just barely more than 3. And then second island, or third island, second one placed by the GT fleet. 3, 4, go right here, down in the south, and then place another one. I'm gonna think about the meta a little bit. So the last island will be placed by the Dragon Fleet, and they will also choose that island to be the home island of the GT fleet, realistically. Because then, yeah, so that'll be good at least. So they'll be able to place one 6L way up here and have them start there. So they're gonna place one here, 1, 2, 3, right there. Second to last island. So GT fleet knows that, given the island placement strategic meta. The GT fleet can assume that the Dragon fleet will place them 6L away. So they might actually go kind of far. I'm gonna go 4L, like somewhere in here. So then they might end up in the corner. Let's see how far this is right now. 3, 4. That's about 4 right there. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, that's fine. 4L from both of those. And then the last island is placed by the Dragon Fleet. I think they will do that. I think they'll go pretty much 6L way up in the corner. 3, 4, 5, 6. Man, hardly reach this. All right, I'll try that. So it's also not in the view. So I might be able to zoom out a little bit. Okay, yeah, that should work. You can see my spare forts in the top right. So in case both fleets want to build Paradis, Delamere, things like that. So they both have English pirate and French ships, so we have some fort overlap. Actually, there's no... there might not be a pirate ship in the GT fleet this game, but more on that soon. So we'll get to the terrain setup. So they're probably going to disagree again on the number. So the GT fleet got their wish last game and placed 4, and they liked having that many whirlpools. So they're probably going to vote for 4 again. Yeah, they're going to vote for 4. And then the Dragon fleet is going to vote. They have to change their train strategy. So last game, it became evident that the Dragon fleet really would have benefited from being able to sabotage the Patagonia faster at the end when they were ahead 9-8. So they actually want to place like a Sargasso and an iceberg near their home island. And their home island is getting chosen by the other fleet second. So they're probably going to get picked to go, I'm thinking either here or here. That's probably the best move for the GT fleet, where they'll place the Dragon fleet. So yeah, that's what I'm thinking. So in that case, they're able to seed placement a little bit. Problem is, they don't know which of those they're going to get picked at. They could measure. I mean, they can measure all this out. I think this one might be a little bit more remote. It's close to this one, but like for example, I think this is closer to the second closest one of these compared to this, compared to this is to that. So it's a little bit overthinking it, but so either way, they want to be able to place. Yeah, see, they don't want the GT fleet to be able to place too many terrain. I think it's going to hurt them, but they want an iceberg and a Sargasso Sea, and I think they're going to go away from reefs. The reefs didn't. The Grand Temple just avoided the reefs. Didn't have to go over any last game, so I don't think that's going to help them enough. I think it's kind of super gamey, kind of sad, but they have to basically seed the terrain in a way that they're able to sabotage themselves when they're ahead on gold to trigger the known future move actions endgame trigger. So that's just how this competitive play works. Hate the game if you want, but it's the competitive meta, so just trying to go as hard as possible on it. So I think they're going to propose 3, so they can put out a Sargasso, an iceberg, and then, because if they could propose more, because they don't know where they're going to go. They can choose where they're placed. They don't know if they're going to get the home island location they want. Like they could place the Sargasso and iceberg here, and then the English will probably pick the home island to be there. So they could agree with 4 actually, and not place any fog banks or stuff like that. I think since they anticipate the GT fleet voting for 4 again, actually they already did. GT fleet is going first, so they get to. I might ask Wolf about this. I don't know if people propose at the same time, or if one player. This is like the terrain meta, just over gamified thinking, overthinking it like crazy. But basically, if if the players don't declare at the same time, player 2 can know how many terrain the other player proposed. And then they can base their proposal on that number. So if they know the GT fleet wants at least 4, and the Dragon fleet wants at least 3, because they kind of want to place a Sargasso, an iceberg, and a fog bank. So since they know that at least 3 will be placed, I think they're going to vote for 6, and then they can put Sargasso and iceberg on near both islands, and then still have a couple fog banks too. So I think they're going to vote for 6. They're going to try that. Let's see what happens. So GT fleet voted 4 terrain. Dragon fleet voted 6. Roll off to see who gets what they want. GT fleet gets what they want. So it's going to be 4 again, just like in the first game. So it's fine. All right. So GT fleet gets to place the first terrain, and they anticipate getting picked as this being the home island. They don't really care if the other fleet has access to whirlpools, but they want access to whirlpools themselves, so they're just going to place one right there. And now the other fleet is going to place, they're going to place Sargassos and icebergs. We might not see any fog. We might see one from the GT fleet. So we're going to place a Sargasso Sea right here. The GT fleet is going to place a whirlpool right here. The other fleet's going to place a Sargasso Sea. They're going to go right here. They got to fit an iceberg in here too. So they're going to go like that. And then, I mean, since the Dragon fleet is going second, they might not be able to get enough gold where suiciding is the right option to end the game when they're ahead. They might not establish a lead at all like they did in the first game. They might never be ahead, but they're going to at least anticipate that might happen. Might depend on the GT's island she goes to. Okay, so that's 2 each. Third round, GT fleet places a whirlpool, kind of just in a middle location there. They're probably going to place 4 whirlpools. I think it's going to be worth it for them. The other option is for the Dragon Fleet to propose 0 terrain, but that's not what they're going to do based on last game, and they didn't win anyway, so it's too late. So, so third round of terrain. So I'm going to do a 1 iceberg here. Yeah, that looks good. Hopefully it won't hit ships at their own home island. Maybe they're going to this is, I mean, you can gamify all of this. You can gamify iceberg placement so that the rotation is less likely to crash into ships at your home island. Like you could dock your ships like here and here, so then if it goes here, it hits that terrain, or it hits the edge of the map there before it would ever hit your ships. Versus, well, I mean, it's supposedly more your dock, so if you're docked here, you're more likely to get hit. But for example, if you're rotated here, the 4 might go farther in or something. So, all right, so they're gonna place it about SOA, like right there, in case they want to sabotage with it. Basically, they almost want it to hit their home island, and then it would stop, and they could just slam a ship into it whenever they want. It's a bizarre game. I'm trying to see how deep this meta rabbit hole goes, and I think tournament number 3 is really gonna expose that and show that. So GT Fleet is gonna actually place a 4th whirlpool. They're only gonna place whirlpools, no fog banks. They want to just cover the map. They want HMS Grand Temple to be able to just hit any of the other 5 islands, including the enemy home island, maybe, in 1 turn from the home island, no matter what. So that sounds pretty devastating. I think they're going to win this game in the series, but let's see. So, all right. And then I want to place this actually. I want to place this near the Sargasso. So the other fleet may have been able to win the game last time if Patagonia real quick was able to hit the iceberg, lose her mast, and then row into the Sargasso Sea. And once she's stuck in the Sargasso, the D6 roll plus masts, I think it can't be above 6, so she'd be stuck. And then she would be stuck forever, I believe. Let me make sure I got this right on Sargassos real quick. Add the current number of masts, yeah, to the result, yeah. So if a mastless 1-mast galley goes over a Sargasso, she's stuck forever, unless she's like forced out, but there's no abilities right now in this game, in play, that will force her out. So, all right, so that's 4 each. So terrain placement is done. It's pretty funny. It's pretty funny to think about the terrain meta for these 2 fleets. All right, so now that we've done that, we'll choose home islands. So Dragon Fleet is going 2nd, so they can choose any of these to be the home island of the first player, the GT Fleet. I think they'll stick with their plan. It's the problem, yeah, if they don't stick with their plan and put them in the corner, they're gonna like end up just being able to get other places faster. I think that's the problem. GT Fleet is going 1st. Hidden Cove has not been, there's no current events visible in the GT Fleet because Cove is part of their +5 selection, but they can assume that they'll see Hidden Cove again. Dragon Fleet can assume that. So they can gamify the Hidden Cove placement. They place them here. GT will probably end up there, maybe there. Yeah, I don't think it matters. Between Micron, the Whirlpools, and Hidden Cove, I don't think it matters where they place them. HMS GT is going to be able to hit any island, any wild island on turn 1, no matter what. I don't. Yeah, they'd have to not have Whirlpools to change that. So they are going to place them way up in the corner there. So now place their ships. So, all right. So I can get into the corner here. So GT. Well, before they do this, before they place their ships, they want to make sure they know where they're going to put the enemy. I think based on that sabotage, they kind of see what's up with the sabotage play because they know what happened in game 1. Of course, they remember that just happened. So they might like this better. If sabotage Patagonia would take longer, this might be 2 or 3 passes to get there versus 1 or 2 here. So, they'll probably put them in the southwest, I think. Probably what they'll do. So based on that, I think they might go here, like with Hidden Cove, they might go there. Because I think they can measure this out. Let me check this out here. So either way, they're gonna have their ships pretty much like this. Patagonia kind of protected, core on the back end of the home island as well. And I just got to measure this to see, make sure they can cove to where they want to go right away. So, wow, that's a big distance. That's like the full, yeah, that's farther, yep. So it just depends on where they dock. Because if they put the stern here, I think they'll be closer to that one for Hidden Cove. So they basically want to go here because they're placing the enemy here, they can cut them off from that island, which forces Banshee's Cry when the other faction coves, or the other fleet, I mean. Well, actually, Hidden Cove says nearest unexplored wild island or wild island with no treasure. So yeah, they'd be forced here because this will be unexplored on turn 1 probably. So that way Banshee's Cry, if she has to go home to get gold home, she has a longer journey, and the iceberg might actually get in the way. So, all right. So I think they'll stick with that. They will place Dragon Fleet in the southwest corner. So we'll put their stuff here. They don't want to get hit by the iceberg early in the game, so they're going to place their ships accordingly. And that was a reminder to put an oarsman on the home island. So I'm interested in the +5 selections for this game. I think it'll be interesting. So they got to make sure the iceberg won't hit them on turn 1. All right. They'll try that. And then Or du Leon. Yeah, they'll go. Well, Patagonia. I don't think the iceberg, based on the angles that it's going to move, I don't think it's going to hit Patagonia early. I think she's going to be going out here a bit. That way she's closer to the iceberg. I don't think she can get with an S though. Yeah. Not where the, well, maybe with the bow, but whatever. All right. So, yeah, I think that's fine. I think it's going to take her 2 actions to hit it either way. So, and again, Rai is Patagonia, and Colibri is Coeur du Lion for the Dragon Fleet. So, just like in the first game. So, home island chosen. So, now we place crew. So this is where it's going to differ a little bit. So, both fleets are changing their +5 selections for this game based on how game 1 went. So, the Jolly-Man was not useful to the GT fleet, so they're actually going to swap it out in their +5 selection for another event. So we're going to get divers instead of the Jolly-Man, face down of course. And then their other points are going to be the same. So need a Hidden Cove, and then I think I did the Explorer. Let me think about this. I may have botched their +5 selections. I don't know, I can't remember exactly from game 1, but either way, they're going to add Hidden Cove and then the other 2 oarsmen for core, which are going to start the game face down on the home island. So there's those, and then they've got 2 events now instead of 1. And since they place crew first, the other fleet is able to see that, but they're going to stick with what they're going to do. So part of the problem with the anti-UPS+UPS fleet is they only have 2 oarsmen starting the game to trade with Captain Jack Sparrow, which is not many. That's only 2 transfers. It's not very good. So they're going to actually dump Aristide. They're not going to bring in Maurice Aristide with their +5. They're still going to bring in Hidden Cove. But instead of Aristide, those 3 points are going to be used on 3 pirate oarsmen. So maybe they should have 1 French, but whatever. Too late. I'm not going to go and do that. So, all right. And then one of them, only one is going to start the game on the Coeur du Lion, and then the others are going to start the game on the home island. We're going to add that to the one that was already there. So now they have 4 oarsmen they can transfer. I think 1 would be French. So I think we're going to pretend that the last one is French. I don't know if it'll come up in the game. let's just pretend the bottom oarsman is French. So one of the ones they brought in via the +5, of course. So then they'll have 4 pirate oarsmen to transfer, and then a French one. So they have 5 total. They could trade to Captain Jack Sparrow and his island. So part of the reason for that French one is it's basically because Banshee's Cry will never, with no sack ability, she's probably never going to need 5. So she might need 1 or 2 or maybe even 3 if she loses crew or stuff like that. But by the time the 5th one would ever get traded, I think it's just as likely that Core would have to be going out for gold on her own at that point, kind of like we saw in the first game. So then I'd rather have it be French, so it could actually use its abilities on the Core and not take up space and stuff like that. So, all right, so placing crew has been completed. So now no equipment to place, so we place treasure. And the treasure distribution is changing in one of the fleets, the Dragon fleet. So the HMS GT UPS fleet, keeping their distribution the same, it worked out beautifully. They used trees to kill the dragon faster, basically. I mean, they didn't need it that badly, I guess, and then they were able to capture the banner. So they're happy with their distribution. So they're gonna keep the same 8 coins. And then there's a radical change in the treasure distribution submitted by the Dragon fleet. So this is not seen in advance, of course, by the other fleet, but they had 7 2s and a 1 because they didn't want positive UTs to benefit the other fleet, and they didn't want negative UTs to affect their Banshee's Cry. But part of the problem is that those low values, they don't get to 16 fast enough. And with very few crew to trade and not much time available in the game before the other fleet, especially HMS Grand Temple UPS, before they can run away with it based on combat and gold, they need to basically increase the average value of a coin. So they're gonna completely revamp their distribution, 771 for the regular coins, and then they're gonna add their own Barbary banner. I just had to like scratch a coin on this. This is a proxy for Barbary banner. So, and then they're also gonna add Curse of Davy Jones. So this way, if HMS Grand Temple finds it, she has to load it, and then Raptor Maul will get +1 to her cannons against HMS GT, and you can't really capture a Sea Dragon, so it will never hurt the other fleet, their own fleet. And then she's going to add Sunken Treasure, Smuggled Goods, and Jade. So these are going to increase the value of coins and essentially make more gold available in play. So it's still 1st to 16, of course, but that way they have a better chance of getting 16 treasures from only a couple transfers home. So, and it might benefit the enemy, but they gotta try to play to win quick. Because I think the longer these games go, the more likely the HMS Grand Temple will be able to exert her combat dominance and either capture ships or kill the dragon, and therefore be able to run free over the oceans without any opposition. So they're trying to. The anti-UPS fleet is kind of worried, and they feel like they got to win this game fast. So they're going to do their best here to try that. So I'm going to put 4 per island, of course, and we'll be ready to set sail. So pretty interesting island terrain setup, I think. And the different coin distribution should be interesting. So here we go. Okay, ready to start game 2. And pop up the timer. Left clock will be HMS GT UPS. Reminder, it's not going to be an endgame trigger. It's just to try to help me play faster. It's just kind of a mental aspect where it's like, oh shit, time's running out. So iceberg rolls. So need a 1 or a 2 to trigger them. Nothing happens. All right. I hate rolling for icebergs, but the other fleet really wants them for the sabotage option. So whatever. So Grand Temple, no surprise. It's gonna flip Hidden Cove. She wants to trade 2 coins home. She's gonna come over here. She's gonna dock here. She's gonna redock, revealing her Explorer and Captain Jack Sparrow. As expected, we're gonna mark this, explore the island with her first action. Oh, jackpot. 7-3-3-1. So, wow. All right, that's going to be tough to overcome for the other fleet. So they flip home a 7. Kaur is going to trade out her face down English oarsman for it. She's going to redock, plus up the 7 with a 2. Unload it right away. So that's 9. Now she's going to load the other English oarsman as a free action, do the free transfer rules from that island. Grand Temple is going to load and place face up the island, the oarsman that just got transferred to the island, also via the free transfer rules. Micron gives a second action to Grand Temple. She's going to be, she wants to get in position to hit Banshee's Cry here. So she's actually going to go, she's going to have to reveal her helmsman, but it's already obvious from last game, so whatever. Reveal the helmsman and redock here. And now she's going to use Captain Jack Sparrow to send a 3 home, which Kaur has already been given action. So she's just going to hold on to it, but her oarsman is transferred, her second oarsman is transferred to the island. Grand Temple does not have cargo space for it, so it's going to sit there. He's just going to camp out, and that's the turn. So 9 gold for HMS GT UPS. Turnover, iceberg roll, nothing. Need a 1 or 2 to trigger either one of them, so nothing there. I think it's gonna be pretty simple. Probably Cry to Cove the Cry. Yeah, there's not really much, there's no real debate about what to do. Their only chance is to follow their plan. Hit the G2 with the dragon, then Cove out, Cry. So we'll do the Cry first, see what this island looks like. Cove out the Banshee's Cry. She's gonna actually dock, grab a token to explore with. I'm just gonna preemptively flip CJS and the Explorer. There's no surprises there. Grab the token, and she's actually gonna dock over here. It's with Micron. Next turn, she might be able to go to that island. So she's more likely to do that than go home. So she's gonna redock with L+L move, and she's gonna take a gander at these goodies, which she likes. Sunken Treasure, Smuggled Goods, 7-3. Okay, well that's gonna be fun. So got my handy UT booklet. So Sunken Treasure, they can choose the order in which they're applied because both of these are loaded face up. That might not matter, but so Sunken Treasure, when revealed, roll 2d6. The total is how much gold Sunken Treasure is worth. You can each your turns reduce that value by 1 until Sunken Treasure is reduced to 0 or is unloaded at your home island. Sunken Treasure take up 2 cargo spaces, but with no Maurice Aristide and Kaur, that's fine because she only has 1. She actually doesn't need Al Ra. I forgot to leave her out. Yeah, Al Ra would not be in this fleet. She's not needed without Aristide. So I actually have a follow-up with Wolf to ask if you can bring in 0-point crew with the +5 ability, but I don't know. So that question may have already been answered a while back, but whatever. I don't know right now. So Sunken Treasure, they want to figure out how much this is worth. So you're gonna roll black dice and see. It's worth 5. All right. So I'm gonna put a 5 on it, and that's not the best value here. So they do have space for it on the Banshee's Cry. So if they don't trade it home, they can load it. Let me think about this. So if they trade it home, they don't get +2 because there's no Aristide, and so they'd get 5 this turn. But if they use Micron on Banshee's Cry, they can send home 7 in smuggled goods and be at 14. That's really tempting. Problem is the Grand Temple. This is interesting. Let me think about this. This is tough. I don't know. This is the tough part about this fleet going second. They don't know whether to use Micron on the Dragon or Banshee's Cry. The Cry can only send home both of these coins for 14 total if she if she gets Micron, but then the dragon can't move and shoot. So the dragon, let's just gamify it. Let's map it out. Let's pre-measure it. So if she goes here to block that route and this route here, Grand Temple, it's pretty close. Let me check this out. So 1, 2, she can't quite reach the whirlpool, so that's decided. Not quite, it's really close, but her bow won't touch the terrain physically, so she can't go through it. Then that would really help, actually. Yeah, this could be the move. This could be how they win. I'm trying to think if there's another way to do it. They might sacrifice the dragon just to block the temple. I did not expect that to be a viable option. That's 4, 5, 6. Ooh, this is tight. They send home the 3 next turn at 17. I think they're gonna go for it. Oh, the only problem is they don't know how much the other fleet, they don't know how much that coin's worth. Ooh, this is really hard. So they don't know what the core has. Could be another 7. They don't know what they found. They don't know that it's a 3. Or actually, so they know they found one of their 7s, and they know that one could be the other one. The problem is they don't know if GT modified their treasure distribution from game 1. They did not, and they could assume they didn't because they won the game. They'd probably assume, this is nuts. They could assume, and they have a 3 that looks familiar to what the other fleet put in last game. Although they don't really know that they put in 5 3s. They didn't find all the treasure. But basically, they could assume that the coin that the other core has right now is not a 7, because they found one of theirs, and that might be their first one. So then the next best value coin could be a lower value than 7, but it's going to get plussed up either way, so they could hedge their bets. It would have to be at least a 5 to win. They have 9, so if the coin on core gets plussed up, problem is GT can explore twice. I think they have to hit, I don't know if they can even do this. They're going to fail no matter what. Because, there's nothing that stops Grand Temple from sending home more coins on the next turn. I don't think this is going to work for the anti-UPS fleet. They're close. They got a good island, but they almost have to go first. Because even if Raptor Maw slams the temple, she can't sink her, she can't prevent her from redocking and exploring next turn. She'll take out a crew probably, but it would just eliminate the oarsman and load another one. So I don't think Raptor Maw should attack. I think for them to even have a chance at winning, they need to send home 2 coins to their core this turn. So they're going to do that. They're going to load the sunken treasure, because they actually have to, because it's face up. They have to load it. So they would have to load. I think smuggled goods. Let me just figure this out real quick. So I've realized a huge rules gaffe that I've been making that dramatically affects my turn 1 victory fleet that I'll have to revamp. So on page 62 of the Pirate Code, it says reveal all unique treasures, and then load all revealed unique treasures face up, apply the effects of all revealed unique treasures, and then after all that, swap a treasure on the island for a crew on another ship, if allowed by an ability. And then you load or unload face down UT's non-unique treasure. So pretty much is a deal breaker for all this. So Banshee's Cry has to load the sunken treasure and the smuggled goods. She doesn't even want to load the smuggled goods. She wants to trade them home, but she can't. Because she has to load them first before Captain Jack Sparrow's ability is applied. So therefore, 7 gets traded home with her first action, goes to Kawar for an oarsman. So she transferred. Oh yeah, she already had one. Duh. So she transfers one to the islands. Banshee's Cry has no more cargo space for it because Sunken Treasure takes up 2, 3, 4, 5 with the link. She's full. The oarsman will take up space with Jonah's ability, so she can't load the oarsman. And Kawar explores the home island or redocks, whatever, unloads the 7, free transfer rules to load another oarsman. And I guess Banshee's Cry could try to go home with this treasure she does have. With her second action, she could do that. What do you think about this? Or build a fort. They might be able to salvage this a little bit. I'm not so sure. If they go through the whirlpool, Grand Temple might be able to sink the dragon. She might be able to kill the dragon on the first action, and then she'll be in range of the Banshee's Cry on the second action. So I think, therefore, Banshee's Cry should stay at the island and try to make it home later on by just running home. So she's gonna go L and L here, and then she trades the 3 for the oarsman on another oarsman on Kawar. She trades it to the Kawar, but the Kawar. Actually, I'm going to say the Kawar didn't unload earlier. She doesn't have Aristide, so she doesn't care how many coins she unloads at once. She's not trying to do one at a time with no gold bonus. So let's say she didn't unload the 7. So she keeps both coins aboard. Now, after both actions to the Banshee's Cry, she is able to go and unload both. So they have 10. So these go face up. And the dragon, I think I'm going to keep that with the dragon there, because I can't quite get to this whirlpool in one move action to come out here with the second one. And because of this blocking element, they can't get to this whirlpool with one move action either. They can barely even turn around there. So yeah. So I think that's the best stuff they can do this turn. I think they got to build a fort too to try to protect the Banshee's Cry. So and then they could try to put the UTs in the fort potentially. Sunken Treasure, the value is going to be reduced, but I think they're actually going to try their best to play a longer game. I think. The problem is Banshee's Cry can't send home more treasure soon. So I think they made a mistake with their UT distribution, but I don't think they would win even if they hadn't done that. So HMS Grand Temple 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. With Micron, she can't get Banshee's Cry this turn, no matter what. So even if she uses one action to go through a whirlpool, she'll be stuck on the other side of it. So she's better off just killing the dragon and sending coins home, which she'll do. That's tough. I don't think they can. I don't think there's a way for them to make this work. So that even if they tried to explore another island, they would need both actions to get there. I'm trying to figure out a way to make this work, but I don't think it's going to. They can build a fort, but it's not really going to help at this point. Banshee's Cry. Actually, she's gonna. They only need to send home one more good coin to win. Yeah, not being able to send home those UTs that are worth value is devastating. So now she's stuck trying to get them home on her own, which is going to take too long. It's going to take 2 turns. She can't even get home next turn. So I don't think a fort is a good idea, because it's going to take gold off their home island. I don't think it's really necessary either, because Grand Temple can't hit Banshee's Cry anyway. So Banshee's Cry would love to go send home one of those coins, but it's not going to work fast enough. I don't think. I think it's going to end on the beginning of the second round here with the Dragon fleet, or the GT fleet. I'm trying to think if there's another way to make this work, but I don't think so. I'm not so sure this Dragon fleet is capable of beating this GT fleet if they go second. I think they have to go first to have a chance, and even then it's really tough. So I think the Dragon should still be placed there, because you have to, if you don't sacrifice the Dragon, GT is going to come 1, 2, 3, and then the second action hits the Cry. You could not sacrifice the Dragon, build a fort, but the fort might fall anyway. GT has so much firepower, she could dismass the Cry with a ram, make her immobile, and then destroy the fort with her broadside. So they're going to sacrifice Raptor Maw, just put her there to block as a blocker. And I'm trying to think of a way to make this work where the Dragon fleet won't lose on round 2, but I don't think there's a way to make it work. I don't think they can do it. They needed to be able to send home smuggled goods. I don't think it would work anyway. Even if they sent home smuggled goods in the 7, they'd be at 14, but then they can't. They need one more coin, and they're not going to get the chance for that. UPS is too fast, and this island was too good. So they're going to turn it over, and then I'll roll for Iceberg. So nothing happened in there. And then the GT fleet, they're going to have, what do you think about this? So they know that's a 3 up there. 4 has a 3. One of the coins is going to get plussed up. They just need 7 more. They have 9. They know there's a 3 here. So as soon as they transfer a 3, they can unload both for 8, and then they'll have 17. So they'll win. It's going to be a very similar score. I think it's going to be 17 to 10. So they're going to redock. Yeah, they're going to redock. Yeah. So they would go like, they'd go from like starboard hull right there. Yeah, they would just come around basically like this. And then they're just going to shoot for the hell of it. So I'm going to do black dice for the 2 L's. And then 3 S's are the other 2. So 6 cannons all at once. Oh, wow, they missed like crazy, actually. They'll get another shot at it. Only 2 hits, but we might just go again. But with that first action, yeah, it's over. I don't need to even do it again. So they're going to send home the 3 for, actually, are they out of crew? Let me think about this for a second. They might send Micron because they don't have any others. Let me think about this. Yeah, they sent home, they already have, yeah, this is the French oarsman for that coin. He goes to the island. The 3 goes to Core. She's gonna unload, I think. Yeah, she can redock right now. But she can't hold the coin, actually, so hang on. 6 and 9 is only 15. So, no, I think there's a way to do it, actually. Or no, I don't think they can do it this turn. This is crazy. This is where it gets ugly. So Core has one of the 3s. They're trying to send another one home. If they send it now, it doesn't fit on Core because Aristide takes up a space. She only has 1 space open. She can dump Aristide, but then she doesn't get the bonus. So then they only get +6 instead of +8. That only gets them to 15. And then if they send home another coin for Micron, if they use, yeah, I don't think the free transfer rules would work fast enough for that. So they would have to find another way to get the last gold, I think. All right, so it took me a minute, but I figured out how to win on this turn with the GT fleet. So it's going to be going back a tiny bit, but I'm going to say before the Grand Temple redocked to send a coin home, Core du Lion used her free transfer to dump the French oarsman on the home island. It was then loaded via the free transfer rules onto Patagonia, who has a cargo space for it and has Robinson, so she's fine on not caring about the point cap of the ship. So that is the transfer I needed to do. And now, let's say before Grand Temple did her stuff, Kawar redocks, unloads the 3 with Aristide's bonus. So that's 3 plus 2 is 5. They already had 9, so they're at 14. So they just need 2 more. Now Grand Temple does her redock as her first action, and it's going to be the only action she gets this turn. She redocks, shoots, hits twice on Raptor Maw. I'm not going to take it out because it just doesn't matter. She's going to then trade the 3 that's still here for the French oarsman on the Patagonia. So this is a weird time when Micron is not going to be used to give an action to a friendly ship. The Patagonia is going to now be given an explore action to target the home island and dump the 3 there. And now they win, because now they've unloaded 8 this turn. They had 9, and that's 17. So now they have more than half the starting gold, which is the endgame trigger. And they also have the most gold as the victory condition. So HMS Grand Temple UPS wins game 2, 17-10, after just a round and a half. So the anti-UPS plus UPS didn't even get a second turn. So HMS GT UPS is just too good and too fast and too strong to beat in this case. So this was an informative game. I know it's all over the place. Definitely tested my rules abilities, and also like the UPS thing there at the end was weird. I'm so used to using Micron every turn that it was actually advantageous to not use him. I almost swapped him for that last 3. You could, it doesn't really matter. Once they get 17, the game ends, in this case 17, 16 or more. So you could actually swap Micron for that 3, and he would just sit on the island, and then once the game's over, it doesn't matter that he's not on Patagonia where you normally want him, but might as well just use the oarsman as intended. So yeah. So they got a good island. So they went first, they got a good island, and they had enough gold on an island to get 17 or more after just 3 transfers. So they got 7 plus 2, 3 plus 2, and then they just traded home the last 3 that they didn't need a bonus on to get 16 or more. The other fleet got a good island as well, but the problem is it's just, when it's UPS versus UPS, essentially it's just the game moves too fast to be able to not win on turn 1 or not win when you go first. So it's just kind of a tough one for them. I think the fleet is still decent, but it could use some tweaking. And I forgot about the UT distribution, the UT rules where you have to load face-ups before Captain Jack Sparrow's ability applies. So that's something that I'm gonna have to revamp my turn 1 victory fleet with. So it's gonna be interesting because it's gonna affect the unique treasure meta for this fleet and that fleet, because I have to figure out the optimal coin distribution where you send home a minimum amount of coins and you can still win the game in 1 or 2 turns. I don't know if it's going to work though without any gold bonuses, without Aristide. I think it's going to be too hard. So I think the anti-UPS plus UPS fleet suffers from like being kind of half and half. I think the problem is the anti-UPS is not quite good enough, and neither is the UPS, because you're trying to cram both aspects or both strategies into one fleet for only 45 points. So neither is optimized. So for example, to kill that UPS fleet, they have Angelica, which kills cargo with every hit. So even if it wouldn't be able to dismast Grand Temple, at least if you got 3 or 4 hits, you might be able to take out Captain Jack Sparrow in 1 shoot action. Versus Raptor Maw is just 1 crew per turn. And in addition to that, because it's kind of half and half, the UPS aspect suffers as well, because Banshee's Cry is really exposed to an enemy gunship. And if you use Aristide in Dragon Fleet, he might not be able to get enough bonuses on coins quickly, but then if And also they only had 2 oarsmen. That's what we saw in game 1, is they only have 2 oarsmen to trade, which is, I guess, a good minimum for UPS, but a lot of times you're going to need 3, sometimes 4 crew to trade. So, and you could trade Aristide in that situation. The problem is if you trade him, you don't get the bonus on the coin he's traded for. So then it might not be enough to win. And that's kind of what we almost saw in the GT fleet just now, is I was trying to figure out how to get an Aristide bonus on the second coin sent home this turn. But it turns out I didn't need it. So probably because of that 7. Getting 9 or 10 gold on the first coin sent home is pretty crazy. I mean, both fleets got that here. So it kind of came down to who went first a little bit. I think if it had continued, it would be interesting to see if Banshee's Cry, if she could go, she would need both actions to get there either way, but she could get to this island and send home a coin. There's no one to trade. I think she'd have to trade for Micron. So she would trade, so it wouldn't be enough. Trees, Curse of Davy Jones, Spyglass, and a 3. So she'd trade home the 3. They don't only have 13. That's not enough. So this is where gold bonuses become essential as well. With no gold bonuses in the anti-UPS fleet in this game, it was tough to get enough quickly. And then if she comes home, Banshee's Cry, she does have Sunken Treasure, but that would go to 4. And then Smuggled Goods can double it, but the problem is she takes too long to get home. So 4. So I don't think it would have worked. Even if it had continued, it wouldn't have worked out too well for them realistically. So anyway, it was still an interesting series. So HMS Grand Temple wins the series 2-0 in a shutout and a sweep victory in the 3-game set, or best of 3, I should say. And they're going to advance to round 2, which is technically the semifinals in an 8-fleet tournament. And they look really strong right now. I think they were already kind of one of the favorites probably going into the tournament, but yeah, they show their power here, commanding victories over a fleet that does have a double action dragon and UPS. Even when they went second in game 1, they still won the game. So I guess the series score is 34-19 after 17-9 and then 17-10 victories. So certainly pretty decisive, and especially being able to win 2 games with one of them going second. Can't really argue that HMS GT UPS is the better fleet here. So pretty devastating to have Captain Jack Sparrow on a ship that can fight really well. Kind of reminds me a little bit of UPS 5 with the Zeus, or a little bit of Universal Pirate Swan with the Black Swan. So we'll see how well the fleet can do. So feel free to subscribe if you want to see this fleet in more games, and stay tuned for more action. There's going to be plenty more Tournament 3 games coming up. Planning to record all of them, hopefully. And you can feel free to like and comment, subscribe, and check out the affiliate links to help the channel and my website, Pirates with Ben. And thanks for watching. See you again for more videos.